Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk about common mistakes floor 7 tanks make. Some of these mistakes I've seen quite high cata levels make. Right before we get into the mistakes, please make sure to subscribe. You can always unsub later, it helps a lot, boosts the channel quite a lot. And also make sure to leave a like and, leave a comment down below if you'd like. Let's get into the mistakes. So the first mistake I'm going to talk about is clearing without having a clearing set. So let's just say you only have your Goldor and Reaper Mask. You shouldn't be clearing with that. That's what I'm saying. Is when you have a setup like that, you should only prioritize puzzles and secrets. Because it would be faster for someone else to come halfway across the map and clear those rooms for you, instead of you clearing them. So it's just a way bigger boost to your team if you just focus secrets and puzzles and let them to clear. Because you won't do much damage in a normal tank setup. But if you have like a Necron Archer setup or a Mage setup, sure, go ahead and use that to clear because that'll help out the team more, it'll make runs faster. But if you don't have a setup like that, it's way more efficient to just do puzzles and secrets. On to the second mistake that tanks make. This one is for crystals in phase 1. Okay? So the crystals in phase 1 of the Necron boss, don't go for them as a tank. Because, as a tank, your main job is to get Necron aggro constantly. That's basically your whole job in the boss fight as a whole. So your job is to get Necron into the laser and stun him like that. So you want your teammates to get the crystals for you. Because if you get the crystals, then Necron might aggro one of your teammates, and that'll make it more difficult to get him into the laser. And if he doesn't get into the laser right away, something else you can do is this is why I recommend a Soul Whip, is you can use the Soul Whip, just hold right click, and then just kind of run in a circle. Just stalling Necron until your teammates get the crystals, and you'll be basically set up. The next thing is about the Rabbit Hat. So I always recommend that you use the Rabbit Hat, so make sure, for anyone who doesn't know, the Rabbit Hat's an item that you can catch from the Carrot King, which is a fishing mob. You have to use carrot bait for it. But if you have a Rabbit Hat, you have to make sure that you put it on before the boss fight. So put it on, wait till you're in the boss, and then put your Reaper Mask back on. And then you'll keep the jump boost for it. So if you have that to up crush, then obviously you want to get aggro and crush Necron. But if you don't get the Rabbit Hat, let's just say you don't put on the Rabbit Hat in time, let your teammates know, and see if someone else will crush for you, because it's probably faster and more consistent to get one of your teammates with a Rabbit Head to crush than do you try to crush with like Jerry Sheen Gun or Bonzo Staff, something that's less consistent. So just really let your teammates know, you guys gotta communicate. Same thing when going into phase 2, I always recommend that you say to pre-fire, because sometimes, teams aren't sure. So sometimes they just won't to be safe. So make sure just to say PF UPC, stand for pre-fire up crush, just so they know. It's very helpful. Now over to phase 3. The best terminal for a new tank, or just tank in general, to do is 2B. For anyone that doesn't know what the terms mean, the terminals mean, it's split up into 5 sections. There's S1, which just means solo 1, 2B, 2 bottom, 2T, 2 top, 3, and 4. So for a new tank, or anyone newer to floor 7, I'd recommend going to 2B, which is the easiest terminals to get to and to complete in time. I'd say the hardest ones are probably S1 and 3. And if you have a decent amount of speed, 4 can also be quite easy. So, just look at what terminals you have, but the difficult part is that you either have to have speed. So there's 2 strategies you can use to get through the gates. There is using a stonk, or if you have an efficiency 10 pickaxe, which I want to bet that most of you probably don't, because I don't, I can tell you that for a fact. But, for example, you want to use a stonk and have at least 350 speed, and then you can use that to glitch through the gates on terminals. Or, the other way around it, is you fall into the lava, use the lava to boost you up when near the gate, and you can use a Jerry Sheen Gun to boost up the rest of the wall to get over the gate. That's another strategy that works. I used that strategy for a while. Like if you don't have a rogue's, like if you can't use a rogue sword to get enough speed, if you don't have enough mana, I'd really recommend that you get a Black Cat if you have money for it. Like, if you already have a clear set, if you already have all that, I'd recommend getting a Black Cat because it's very, very useful for getting through terminal gates. And on to Phase 4, which I'm talking about right as you get into Phase 4, you have to try to get Necron aggro right away. Because your job in Phase 4, is, as a tank, is to get Necron aggro and try to move him into one of the pillars in the room. You just want to keep him there so he can't move away, because the second he moves away, he might aggro one of your teammates, and your teammate might take knockback and start bouncing in the lava, and it's not a good experience. So you want to try to get aggro. This is where Jingle Bells might come into play. Might want to use Jingle Bells just to get that aggro, make sure you have that aggro, lure him into a corner, it'll be smooth sailing. And the final mistake is, I see tanks going middle on Phase 4, so when Necron goes middle, I would heavily recommend that you do not go middle. The reason I'm saying this is because sometimes with Necron's like anger explosion, sometimes it reaches to a certain part of the platform that like there's no safe spots to land on for your teammates. So the problem is that if you follow them and one of your teammates gets too close and gets hit by the explosion, you will basically insta-die because, well, you're taking most of his damage and he's taking a lot of damage. So you will basically insta-die if you do that. So I'd recommend that you just stay back where you were. Try to shoot him with a Last Breath if you have one, because that can be very useful. Last Breath is a very good tank item, very underrated. Use a Last Breath, stay a distance, because at the end of the day, if like the aggro explosion is decently far and your teammates can't land on the platform, they can always Spirit Leap back to you. So you're basically the team's safety net in Phase 4. So you really want to stay back there. But other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to join my Discord, link in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.